away, but he then was shot as well in the leg. The two in the car then drove to a second scene. That is a gas station on Salem Road. We know all three men were taken to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. Right now, no suspect is in custody. Of course, we'll continue to follow this story. We'll bring you updates as soon as we learn more. Thanks so much for joining us for this special edition of Fox 5 News. I'm Eric Perry. Our other top story tonight is in Barrow County, where 3 people are dead and 3 others are injured after an intense fire caused multiple explosions at a home. Fox 5's Kim Luffler spoke with neighbors who saw the whole thing.
Yeah, both neighbors and firefighters heard several explosions as soon as they got on scene. Fire officials say there were 7 people inside the home when the fire broke out, and they say propane tanks are behind those explosions they heard. This is what Ashley Arias saw when she stepped outside her Barrow County home just after midnight Saturday morning, flames pouring from her neighbor's home.
At first I heard a boom, but I didn't think nothing of it because usually we hear booms. And all of a sudden, about 2 minutes later, I heard an explosion that sounded like a bomb. I was scared. I mean, I think everybody was scared.
Neighbors say they could hear people calling for help.
It was horrible. People were screaming and it was bad.
Fire officials say when crews arrived, they heard more explosions coming from the house.
The whole house was fully involved. The roof was completely gone and the walls were actually starting to collapse. There was a lot of stuff that was blown out of the house and out into the yard.
One person was life-flighted and 2 others taken by ambulance to the hospital. Officials say once the fire was under control, they found 3 bodies inside. The Barrow County Fire Investigation Unit, the state, and the Barrow County Sheriff's Office are all looking into exactly how the fire started.
There was actually multiple propane tanks in the home. Judging by the explosions right at the beginning, they were part of whatever the cause was.
Tonight, neighbors here say they won't soon forget.
Pray for the people that were hurt and that passed. And, my heart goes out to them.
Fire officials are also stressing the dangers of having propane tanks inside a home. They say they should be stored outside. In Barrow County, Kim Luffler, Fox 5 News.
Kim, your heart just goes out to the family there. Thanks so much. With the Clayton County Police Department asking for the public's help to track down a gunman accused of killing a 15-year-old girl. Police say Layla Harris was shot and killed while attending a birthday party in Morrow. So this happened back in December, but authorities are still working to get information. This security footage shows someone just firing multiple rounds towards the victim. That person was seen wearing a skull cap, a puffer jacket, dark pants, and white shoes. Anyone with information should contact police. In Gwinnett County, police are looking for these suspects who are all wanted on outstanding warrants. Christopher Bass is wanted for aggravated assault, possessing a firearm during a crime, and violating his probation. Austin Frazier wanted for criminal trespassing and cruelty to children. Javon Jacobs wanted for armed robbery and violating the Dangerous Drugs Act. Joseph Anderson wanted for aggravated assault with the intent to rape and failing to register as a sex offender. Curtis Cressley is wanted for false imprisonment and cruelty to children, and Roderick Mann wanted for aggravated battery and robbery. Tonight, Athens police are working to find a missing woman. Officials say Adriana Castaneda was last seen March 4th leaving her home on Cathwood Drive. She's described as being 5'6", about 160 pounds. She has tattoos on her forearm along with tatted eyebrows. Earlier today in southeast Atlanta, police raided a property Stop Cop City protesters say they were camping out on. The activists say about 24 of them were detained, but tonight no word on any arrest or exactly what police were looking for. Fox 5's Rob DiRienzo has more.
I heard the Atlanta police search warrant.
Evan Cohen says he stays on the property in the Lakewood neighborhood, which also hosted about 24 Stop Cop City protesters camped out in the backyard. He says he's not involved with the movement, but he had a rude awakening Saturday morning.
I cooperated. I even said I have no weapons. I have no drugs. Said who I am. He said they have 100 cops have their guns on me. Like I'm some kind of terrorist.
Atlanta police have been tight-lipped about the raid, only confirming to Fox 5 that they were serving a warrant. They wouldn't tell us what it was about. Organizers of the movement call it intimidation, suppressing free speech.
Now we're coming to a point where they're raiding houses, where they're telling organizers and activists that they can't stand on corners and legally give out leaflets.
The raid came just a day after attorneys for the family of Manuel Terán, who was shot and killed by police in the South River Forest in January, say their independent autopsy showed his hands were raised.
I need to know as the mother what happened. I beg with all my heart to understand what is going on here in this forest.
The DeKalb County Medical Examiner has not released the official autopsy, and the GBI says it stands by its initial narrative that Terán shot at officers. Protesters are planning a week of action aimed at quashing the plans for the police training center.
Stop Cop City! Stop Cop City! Stop Cop City! Stop Cop City!
In Southeast Atlanta, Rob DiRienzo, Fox 5 News.
All right, thanks, Rob. Police in DeKalb County need your help to track down a burglary suspect. Police say the man on your screen was seen forcing his way into a business in Lithonia called ABC Towing. That's located on Rock Chapel Road near the intersection of I-20 and I-124. The suspect, accused of stealing car keys and an undisclosed amount of cash. Anyone with information should contact DeKalb Police. Well, police in Gwinnett County are warning their residents to be aware of a phone scam of someone pretending to be a police officer. According to the Snellville Police Department, the scammers are calling unsuspecting victims claiming they have an outstanding debt or warrant. They are then threatened with punishment if a payment is not made immediately. Authorities say the scammers typically ask for via wire transfers or prepaid debit cards. Police say you should be suspicious of anyone calling to demand immediate payment, as officers will never ask for payments over the phone. Well, a Norcross man was taken into custody for impersonating a police officer. This is the video that was taken last month at the intersection of Buford Highway and Holcomb Bridge Road. According to the Norcross Police Department, a man dressed in police uniform was spotted directing traffic, but officers quickly noticed he didn't have a department patch on his uniform. The man claimed he was officer with the Talbotton Police Department, but it turns out he was fired earlier this month. He was taken into custody a short time later. Well, tonight, police in DeKalb County are investigating a drive-by shooting that left one person injured. The shooting happened last Saturday on Daniel Street. That's in the East Lake community. Fox 5's Joy Dukes talked with neighbors there who say they're simply frustrated with the ongoing crime in the area.
You may remember we told you about dozens of burglaries in this neighborhood over the span of a few months. Now neighbors tell me their latest concern is a drive-by shooting that sent a resident to the hospital just last weekend. In Decatur's East Lake community, neighbors say a quiet Saturday night was interrupted by the sound of gunfire and then a car speeding off.
I was actually getting ready to go to bed when it happened, and literally as soon as I laid down, I heard the automatic rifle go off.
According to DeKalb County Police, someone in a passing vehicle fired several shots just before midnight, March 2nd, hitting a 23-year-old woman who was inside a home on Daniel Avenue. Medics rushed the woman to the hospital for treatment.
That's the most disturbing thing to me.
Resident Trevor Durham Henderson says it's the latest incident of crime in the neighborhood that's had nearly 60 break-ins reported in recent months.
I think that the more things like this go unanswered, the worse it's going to get over time.
Jason Prance tells Fox 5 he's been the victim of one burglary and a second burglary attempt since moving into the community 4 years ago. But this latest shooting brought on heightened safety concerns.
More of a shock reaction. You know, we haven't had drive-by shootings, especially somebody getting injured like that.
So far, no arrests have been made in the burglary incidents. While neighbors have started a community crime watch group, both men say they want to see these cases solved.
Hopefully just in stronger investigation, you know, and what's been going on.
And more of a police presence in the area.
I don't very often see my local police officers going up and down my road. I find that concerning.
They plan to voice those concerns at the Majors Night Out event DeKalb PD's South Precinct is hosting at Barker Bryant Memorial Park later this month. They're encouraging other residents to also attend. DeKalb County Police say the investigation into the shooting is ongoing. If you have any information, give detectives a call. That's the latest here in DeKalb County. Joy Dukes, Fox 5 News.
All right, Joy, thanks so much. Today marks exactly 3 years since the World Health Organization declared COVID-19 a global pandemic. Yesterday, congressional lawmakers approved a bill that declassifies intelligence on the origins of COVID-19. That legislation is on its way to President Biden's desk for approval but he hasn't confirmed if he will sign it. The origin of the virus has become a point of contention between U.S. intelligence officials who are at odds on whether the leak came from a lab in Wuhan, China, or spread from animals. Former CDC Director Robert Redfield told lawmakers Dr. Fauci denied his access to internal conversations about the origin, an accusation Fauci is denying.
I didn't put him or take him off. And it's really disturbing that in a public hearing of a congressional hearing, he makes an accusatory statement that has no basis whatsoever in reality.
If President Biden does sign the bill into law, then the Director of National Intelligence will have 90 days to declassify and release all the information on the origin of COVID-19. Well, hundreds of runners gathered in front of State Farm Arena for the 7th annual 5K race. This year's event was held in partnership with the Atlanta Track Club. All participants received an official race shirt, a race photo, and a $25 ticket voucher that can be used for any upcoming Hawks game this season. This year's event got underway around 6 this morning, and it lasted until noon.
It was the final day of state basketball championships here in Macon, and 6 of our local High Five teams were in competition playing for a state title. First local action of the day, single A Division I boys, Mount Pisgah Christian taking on Kingsridge. Tigers forward Micah Hoover dominating early, nabs the steal and finishes the slam. He had 21 in the first half alone. In the second half, his teammate Jack Thomas had to show him up with the single hand slam, so savage the bench could not believe it. With just a few minutes to play, Mount Pisgah got within 10 after being down by 20. Tyson Pittman hits the tray to cut the deficit to 57-51, but Kingsridge stayed in control to win the state title 68-58. Hoover was the game's leading scorer with 25 points, but says credit goes to the entire team.
It was just an amazing game. Like, being able to have the opportunity to be here right now, it's truly a blessing. We just did it together. You know, that's been our motto the whole season. We do it together, we do it collectively, and that's what got us here. We work together as a team and play for each other, and that's all that matters.
And girls 7A number 1 and number 2 meet in Macon, an all Gwinnett County showdown for the ship between Brookwood and Norcross, the defending state champs. As the seconds tick down on the first quarter, Janiah Akins hits the buzzer beater. Blue Devils up 16-9 heading into the second quarter. Broncos battling though. Danielle Osho wills her way to the bucket, but Brookwood would trail 19-17 at the break. Brookwood would keep coming back in the third. Zaja Knight lobs it to Justice McCoy for 2. That's when the Broncos charged for the lead 29-26. Verona Charlton was ice cold tonight. She had 17 points for Norcross, but down the stretch, this was Ohio State signee Diana Collins' game. She had a game-high 21 points, a key steal, and free throws to ice the game. And Brookwood finally reaches the top of the 7A mountain, winning 43-39.
It's a relief. We've been working at this for 4 years. Every year we get closer and closer, and Diana's one has been here the whole ride, so it just feels really good to finally knock off one of our goals that we wanted to accomplish.
And this is your senior year, right? So to kind of finish on top like this, how does that feel? It feels good. You know, you got to go out with a bang.
So today, Atlanta United won in Charlotte against Charlotte FC. They won 3-0, and Caleb Wiley scored 2 of those 3 goals. In Macon, Kelly Price, Fox 5 Sports.
All right, Kelly, thanks so much. Before we sign off for the night, we're still monitoring a developing situation out of Newton County. Police, they are searching for the person who shot 3 people in what they're calling an attempted robbery. So this all started on Crestview Circle. That's a subdivision in the Fairview Estates. Police say someone opened fire on 3 men in a car. All 3 are hospitalized, thankfully with non-life-threatening injuries. Police are investigating, but no arrests have been made at this time. Stay with Fox 5 Atlanta. We'll have updates for you and new information when you join us on Good Day Atlanta. That starts at 6 a.m. Well, that does it for us for this special online broadcast of Fox 5 News. Stay connected to Fox 5 around the clock. You can like our Fox 5 Atlanta Facebook page, follow us on Twitter. And yeah, we're on YouTube as well, Fox 5 Atlanta. And again, be sure to join Caitlin Pratt bright and early in the morning. Starts at 6 a.m. Have a good night.